Being an artist in DC can be difficult. However, there are spaces for up and coming artists in multiple disciplines. The Torpedo Factory is one of them.
Today we are here at the Torpedo Factory Arts Center with Rashad Ali Muhammad, the artist. So how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for sitting down with us and sharing your art and and what makes your art special. So can you tell us a little bit about this the studio we're in and how did you get here?
Sure. So the Torpedo Factory has been in a phase where they're getting new artists in, an influx of artists and trying to be more diverse, be more equitable. So when the Torpedo Factory Arts Center started, it was more of like an artist-run studios, and kind of the whole thing was you were pretty much in your studio until you left or you brought in another artist and they would take over your studio, but it wasn't really a competitive process. It's pretty much who you knew, and they would just take over the space. Okay. I was here maybe 2 or 3 years. When I first started making art, it was like 2016. I remember they had another process where they were open for new artists, and I was like, I could never be in here. I was like, this is out of my realm of possibilities. And here I am today. So I was like, okay, well, it's actually just, that was a really surreal moment when it actually happened. I was like, when the process opened, I literally, talking to my partner, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I feel like it's too much. And he was like, you've literally been doing all the things up to this point to get to where you are to have the space. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And so once I owned that, I was like more forthcoming, more energized and empowered to have a studio here and just even apply and own that I deserve to be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at what point in your life did you realize, hey man, I'm really good at this art thing and I need to go forward with it? Interesting.
So my mom will always say when I was a kid, I was drawing on the walls. So I've always been a creator. But then like in high school, I was like known as the art kid. And then going to college, I started in film, but then I went to graphic design because it felt more artistic and I could do that and also be like more communicative and just be able to use my artistic sensibilities in a consumer way. And so I was always worried about not being a starving artist, because that was like the trope at the time. It's like, I don't want to do that. So I was like, I definitely don't want that at all. I like a lifestyle and I got to keep it. But then in my career, I was working in 2016 as a graphic designer for University of Maryland Global Campus now. It was University of Maryland University College at the time. And so I was like feeling burnt out. It was just always just doing design. You're working for other people. I started just playing around and I did some stuff for my office at my job. And so people were like, oh my God, it's really amazing. So then that just kind of excited me to like try some other things. I was just creating a bunch of stuff, and eventually my mom was like, okay, you're taking up too much space. Like, are you gonna show this anywhere? What are you gonna do? And once I saw people's reactions to my work, I was like, oh, like I could actually do this.
So you've done multiple, I guess, formats in art. So you've done photography, you've done video, now you're doing, So how would you describe your art in this current state?
Ooh, current state. So, I would describe it as I'm a analog and digital collage artist. I try not to pinpoint myself in terms of like what I do, because I'll say I'm more of an explorer in general. So I'm always open to finding new ways to create, or even just talking about the collaging, like I want to get into fashion now. So it's kind of like, how can I use my collaging sensibilities in a fashion mindset? So it's just like, when I got started in collage, which was just during the pandemic, it was focusing on using unconventional materials and like basically recycling things, because we were just in the house all the time. So I was like, well, what can I use around the house as opposed to like buying something new? And I was like finding greeting cards and flower arrangements, like the faux flower arrangements, plastic bags and things like that. So I was like taking that and learned how to use that and create paint with materials. So it's like that's what I would say I do now. Although even when I do my video, it's kind of like digital collage, where I'm like playing with the layering of imagery or video and things like that. So it's always constantly just collaging, just in different contexts.
So talking about the community in this space and your art, you talk about your community of art friends, right? Do you think as a person of color, black person, do you think the art community is it more difficult for you, or is it not as many,
It's a loaded question. No. I'll say this, being in the art community in general, most artists are so open-minded, so just kind of chill about race and stuff like that. So it's not such an issue in that context. But like being here, it's been interesting in the context of like being a black person, having a public studio with a window. It took me a week or two just to kind of get acclimated to like people constantly looking at you, and it's like cool. But in general, just in the DC area, especially like near Howard and just being connected with other black artists, you can talk about the stories and you understand each other. It's just great to have that community to be able to just talk about outside of just art, but like the experience of it. And it's just like, it is significantly important to have a community around you that you can just go to, important to each other.
Yeah. So let's talk about what inspires your art, and then when you're inspired, what's your creative process like?
So what inspires it in general, so it's interesting, this story. So when I first started painting, I just was creating anything from my imagination. I didn't really have a real reason behind it. I just thought things were interesting. I did surreal skin tones because I didn't want it to be specifically black necessarily or any certain race. I just wanted to be a black person's perspective on the world as opposed to just black art specifically. So once I went to Africa at the end of 2019, I went to West Africa, Togo, Benin, and Ghana.
Okay.
And so like going to the slave dungeons and just being the tour guide, like reenacted what the conditions were and was talking, like I had this like out of body experience. I was like killed over on the wall. I felt like their ancestors were calling to me.
Yeah.
I was like, it was,
Wow, it's powerful.
it was powerful. It was, it was a lot, but it changed my perspective, one, on how I move through the world, and it's like just understanding like this is where we came from. We are very resilient people. We're very strong people, and focusing on like we have limitless bounds within us to do all the things that we want to do.
Many people have kind of noticed your work here, but what kind of pieces have people probably seen from you around the city?
Okay, yeah.
Since the city is buzzing with your work.
Yes, it is. So I have about 6 traffic boxes in Hyattsville area, Hyattsville, Edmonston, up Kenilworth Avenue.
Okay.
There's the Nakabi piece, which is a woman. You just see the blue turquoise eye, turquoise face with the eyes, and then like a head wrap. There's the I'm Not Your Target. That was my response to gun violence at the time. That happened literally, I think it was like 2019, 2020. And then I have the 2 pieces up Kenilworth Avenue is Bantu knots. That's one, and then the other one is a pink and green piece called Ivy. It was not inspired by AKAs, but the colors just happened to go with that. And so then also, I just recently had a box in Southwest DC. It's at the Federal Metro Center. It's kaleidoscopic metro views. So I just took the metro ceilings and made my own kind of. To me, the metro station ceilings are like kind of mesmerizing. So like I tie that in with like a kaleidoscopic effect, and it's like this vibrant, colorful traffic box that's in Southwest DC. But then, so I applied for some more recently. So there might be some more popping up in Southwest as well, hopefully if they select them. And then I just finished a commission piece for Kaiser Permanente at Shady Grove. It's 4 large scale panels of green faux leaves. It's a large scale panel, and yes, Kaiser Permanente and Shady Grove. So it's another larger commission piece that, maybe Kaiser Permanente patients specifically will know, but that's there. So
Yeah. So Rashad, I want to thank you for your time once again.
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.